morning, everybody, and we have another technical glitch. My goodness. Well, you can see Cole this time, but where am I?
He's John Cena.
Well, this is just so ironic because we were doing the house shows and we had the issue with your video, and now it's like, I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, whatever. But anyway, you can't see me right at the moment. I'm going to try to fix this, but Alex and Cole are with you this morning in the studio. We are back. Cole, what's happening?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast. Even with the glitches and the technical difficulties and all of that great stuff, we are still the best, and that's that. It is a great morning, and we have a lot to talk about and a lot to go through this morning. So
we have a ton to talk about. So take 2 minutes. Why don't you tell the people about what you've been up to the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that'll give me an excuse to try to fix my video. And if I can, it'll be within 2 or 3 minutes. If I can't, then it's not a big deal. So
okay. Anyways, so as you guys know, I travel full time basically as a speaker, artist, all of that fun stuff. So I have been gone. Let's see. I was gone like 3 weeks, basically in and out, but not enough home time to be able to get to the studio or do stuff like that. So, was gone to a youth camp that I spoke at about a month ago now, and that was a blast. I had a great time there. We did a concert at the end of that. Got back in town, was home for like 2 or 3 days, and then drove all the way to Oklahoma. And got ordained. For those who don't know, I am a youth pastor as well. And so got ordained by the Bible school that I went to in Oklahoma. So I was out there for the week doing all of that fun stuff, visiting with friends, reconnecting, all of that. And then got back in town, was home for a day or two, and then did a youth camp here in my local area for a few days, and then was in Michigan for a handful of days in the Grand Rapids area. I was also in Ohio. I completely forgot about Ohio. I literally have been all over the place in the past like 3 weeks, and that's what it was. So
nice. So this is the shot we're just going to go with this morning. We're just going to stick with our wide shot. Actually, I don't think we can do that because, we can't do our topics and our wide shot at the same time. That's all right. I am here. You'll just hear my voice, but you'll get to see Cole, and his and his reactions.
I'll try to mimic Alex's like facial things while he's talking. Like,
what was that?
I'm trying to mimic your face right now so people can see what it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, Rusty, exactly. It's my turn. I mean, you guys got to see me for the last 3 or 4 weeks and not see Cole, so we're just going to...
You do need to know that we both unintentionally wore Samoa Joe T-shirts today.
Not planned.
Not planned. We are not that close of friends to go over wardrobe together.
I don't think I'm close enough with anybody to...
I don't match my wife.
To coordinate a wardrobe.
So. We both went Samoa Joe today.
Lumpy has a question for you. He says, Cole, do you sing?
Do I sing?
Cole raps.
I'm a rapping / auto-tune singer, if that's what you want to call it. I don't really auto-tune. I use what's called pitch correction, which is totally different. But you have to tune into my...
He lip syncs.
My music podcast that I don't have to talk about that. So...
So, you guys can see me on this wide shot, but then when I switch to this...
Well, would you guys rather see the topics or see Alex? Because I would almost rather see Alex.
That's very kind of you, but... So just 1 second. I'm pulling up... Hang on.
Who all is going to SummerSlam? Like attending in person? Because if you say you, I'm jealous.
Yeah, no joke.
And TakeOver. Like, if you're going... Because if you're going to SummerSlam, you might as well go to TakeOver. They're literally both, If
you're going to one, you got to go to both.
Which I guess one's not... They're not in the same areas, though, I guess, right? TakeOver.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're not traveling.
Yeah.
TakeOver or NXT's not traveling on the road yet. So never mind. Scratch that. I'm still thinking we're like on the road.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We normally have a side-by-side shot if any of you are new. I keep looking at the camera as if I'm on.
Tell them.
We normally have a side-by-side shot, and we go through our list of topics. You can see the topics that we're going to go through today. So our normal, headlines are off the top. We'll discuss our Wrestler of the Week, our Miscarriage of Justice segment. We'll shill some of our T-shirts, if you will. We'll go through our predictions for SummerSlam and TakeOver. We'll discuss AEW coming up this week. And your eyes do not deceive you. We will be giving away some stuff at the end of the show. But I think for today, we're just going to give you a wide shot of Cole and myself. And as you can see in the background, well, maybe you can see, there's a ton of stuff that we're going to be giving away. So we got...
Do my Vanna White.
We've got 5 different giveaways that we're going to do at the end of the show. So one person will win a Cody/Dustin Rhodes figure set.
Cody with the TNT title, the one that everyone hates.
The original version 1 TNT championship. We've got a combo Eric Bischoff book and Samoa Joe figure. We have Proud and Powerful. I still call them Santana and Ortiz. Combo.
Theirs is creeping me out because they have extra heads in theirs. Yeah, I just now realized that.
Well, so something funny so Samoa Joe also comes with some extra hands. With how they're positioned, Cole thought that, the little wrist connector piece, it's just like a single wrist connector or whatever. You take the hands off, and anyway, they look like middle fingers, and Cole's just like, oh, that's an interesting Samoa Joe figure. They come with a middle finger set. No, it's just the wrist connector.
It's the rare Stone Cold Steve Austin Samoa Joe tribute action figure.
Anyway, we have a dual mystery T-shirt. They're both extra larges that we'll offer. By the way, I'll discuss details of how we're going to do this at the end of the show. 2 T-shirts, and I'm not going to tell you what they're on or what's on the T-shirts, but I'll just say they're from Pro Wrestling Tees. They're both size extra large. And we have a cool, I'll call it an old school Jim Crockett Promotions. Hold on, I'm going to grab it real quick. We have an old school Starrcade 83 promo poster, not original. It's recreated. But it's been signed by Tony Schiavone. Don't know if you can see that. And this, however, is an original. This is an original Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling program from 1984, I believe. But it's also got some signatures inside. I know Ricky Steamboat has signed it. Actually, Ricky Steamboat might have been in it. I thought there was more than one. Ricky Steamboat has signed it. Oh, Nikita Koloff signed it as well. Okay, so Nikita Koloff and Ricky Steamboat have signed this. Again, it's an original Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling program. So to recap, one person will get these. One person will get the Rhodeses. One person will get the T-shirts. One person will get Santana and Ortiz. And one person will get the book/Samoa Joe figure combo. And I was telling Cole before we went on, the vast majority of this is due to, generous viewers of the show that have sent this stuff to us. And I have nothing that I can't do anything with. I don't have anywhere to put it. So we're going to pass along the generosity to you guys. But it's also due to the generosity of one person who does not want to be revealed as far as who they are, and I'm going to respect that. Actually, I take that back. So first off, a lot of this comes from Thomas Russell. He's a good friend of the show, watches us, listens to us, and we sincerely appreciate it. I keep looking at this camera in front of me. But it's also due to Thomas that he sent Cole a signed Sting promo poster.
Wow. Ooh.
So the only thing is the good old postal service has bent it a little bit, but
we can fix it.
But yeah, this is from Thomas. This is for Cole. It is signed.
Let's take a look. Wow. That's like the real deal, too.
Well, here, I'll pull up the 2-man so you can kind of show it in the... And by the way, guys, I promise we're going to have a normal podcast. We're not just going to show off stuff, but I wanted to throw this stuff out there before we get started.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
So the other thing was, someone sent me, and this person obviously knows I have an NXT belt collection, so this person sent me an NXT Women's Tag Team belt, which at first I came to find out that it was briefly available on WWE Shop. Whenever I looked, I was just like, this isn't even on here. Like, they have to have some kind of connections to WWE, which I don't know that they do or don't, but I just thought that was really cool. But they also sent Cole something really, 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 really cool. I mean, like 10 times cooler than...
Like, he's been telling me this for a week now, but he's like, you can't know about it until the show. So, like, it's been bothering me.
Until now. So, I'm just going to leave it on this shot for now. Actually, no, I'll go wide shot, but then we'll get a close-up view. So, these are ring-used tights by Ricochet.
What?
Ring-used Ricochet ring gear.
This is crazy.
So...
That's nuts.
So you're gonna have to run to like Michael's or something and get that framed and put it somewhere.
That is crazy. I know you all can't really hear me because I'm not in the mic, but that is so cool.
So I'm gonna close up shot if you wanna.
Yeah. So it actually says Ricochet here on the sides,
and I mean. I couldn't trace those back to any specific time that he wore them, but if you notice like the patterns that he'll wear with his tights, like it's got the lace up front like it normally does. It's got the the Ricochet since '88 deal that he has on a lot of his gear. So
this is absolutely dope. Thank you so much, anonymous person.
Cole has to wear them next week. No, I would not recommend anybody ever trying to wear those.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, this wouldn't fit one of my legs. All right. This is Ricochet is much tinier than I am, so
just a little bit.
But nonetheless, super cool. Might try to find a way to get him signed at some point.
Hey, we might have our chance. I mean, we'll kind of tell you what.
Let's jump in.
Well, we'll just jump in. This will be kind of a nice little segue. And I wasn't even going to mention this. I'm going to go back to full screen. The rumor is Royal Rumble next year might be coming to St. Louis. So that could be your chance to
enter the Rumble. I agree.
Well, are you going to pull an R-Truth and declare and then undeclare?
Depends on who's in the match, I guess. Yeah. Because some of those guys could really throw me pretty far.
A little bit. They could pull a Keith Lee, Adam Cole deal, and I don't know. You don't even know what you'd call that. Whenever he basically just
like threw him.
Well, it was you remember back in the day where Monty Brown and TNA had the pounce.
Yep, off the rope.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. Nonetheless, so now that we're officially have 9:20, 20 minutes later, we've officially started the podcast after showing off some stuff and technical glitches and what have you.
All the fun.
What do you want to start off with?
Oh man, there's so much.
What do we want to lead in with? Well, I'll tell you what. I will pick one. So I messaged you the other day as far as stuff I know I wanted to talk about to lead off. So Christian is the new Impact champion. I thought Rampage was excellent on Friday night. It was a good debut outing. This might be an unpopular opinion. I actually like the call as far as them leading in with that match, as opposed to, I read people said that they should have went with, kick off the show with Britt Baker and Red Velvet, and he should have closed the show with the Impact title match. First off, that doesn't work because I don't think you want to end your card your AEW card with a title match that is from another promotion. Aside from the fact that Britt Baker is, the hometown girl, you're in Britsburg, if you will. I liked the card order in general. I was shocked by the outcome. There's a part of me that thought that Christian might win, but I'm just like, no, they probably won't do it, especially since it's the opening match. They might do a rematch or something along the lines, but they pulled it off. I liked how it was booked. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so let's just backtrack a little bit. As far as Rampage goes, I'm actually not going to lie. I was just a little underwhelmed, actually. I guess maybe I was expecting more.
Well, I tried to not. That could be part of it too. I tried to not get my expectations too high because it's an hour show. Right. I thought the hour flew by.
Then that's what my point is, that I almost felt like we didn't get to enough in that hour.
Okay, I can see that,
and maybe it's because of the matches they booked. I mean, the Christian Cage, Kenny match pretty much took up half the show. I mean, which granted it should. That match should be a longer match, but I just don't know if it was the right card. And it almost has me kind of concerned now with any kind of, rumors of this person or that person debuting on Rampage. How much time are they really going to get? Where is it going to be placed? An hour is not a whole lot of time for programming, especially when, again, this program should be something that allows more room for more people to get out there, and I felt like we saw the same 6 people that we saw on Dynamite. Just wasn't as impressed as I think maybe I thought I was going to be.
Okay.
Now, with all that being said, I thought the Christian Cage Kenny Omega match was phenomenal. I thought it was really good. As soon as they announced that it was going to be for the Impact title, I pretty much had locked it in my head that Christian was going to win, actually.
Okay.
Because they've been protecting him in AEW. He's undefeated, I believe, in AEW. So if he's going to take a loss for the AEW world title, how do you protect him? You do it by giving him the Impact title. Not to mention he has ties to Impact. It's kind of a homecoming without having to sign to Impact necessarily for him as well. So it really benefits, in my opinion, Impact in so many ways, because it gets the belt off of Kenny, who needs to be focused on AEW more than Impact. It puts the belt on Christian, who can be focused on Impact a little bit more than AEW. Still a solid guy. There's some dream matches that we could get with Christian, with some new guys that are in Impact now these days. And kind of opens up some doors. So as soon as I saw it was for the Impact title, I was like, oh, this is how they're going to kind of protect Christian. I don't want to jump the gun on All Out predictions, but I would probably assume that if we get Christian versus Kenny at All Out, Christian's probably going to lose. But this is a way to kind of keep him protected. Like, okay, yeah, he took 1 L, but it wasn't the end of the world because he's still Impact World Champion.
So let's segue into that. So I wrote an article for our Patreon page, which, by the way, if you're interested, patreon.com/GoingBroadwayPodcast. We will talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But I wrote an article, and hopefully it'll be the first of, I'd like to do maybe one every week or one every 2 weeks, something like that. But basically like an article style, I guess, post about, are we really going to get Omega and Christian twice? And I'm not going to spoil what I wrote in the article. That's why it's behind a paywall.
Right.
I'll just say this. I don't think we're going to get Omega and Christian at All Out.
I know we've talked about this a little bit, but
I just, among many other reasons, which, again, if you're interested, check out the article. I mean, you can join our Patreon for as little as $5 a month. I'm not going to go into it, but I will say one of the big telltale signs was AEW always has some kind of a graphic prepared, ready to show for any time they announce a match, even if it's something that's on AEW Dark.
Right.
The fact that they didn't have a graphic prepared and ready to show advertising a title match for All Out
which is less than a month away now.
It is less than a month away. And the fact that there was no graphic, again, many other reasons, which I detailed in that article. If you're interested, go check it out. Really, to me, screams that it's not going to happen. I don't know how they're going to, I don't know how they're going to write him out of the title match. I mean, that could be just a simple, quick, stage a schmoz in the back, have him get attacked, and just write him off TV like, well, based on what I wrote in the article, they would have to probably do that this week. I mean, they would have to do it this week for what I foresee happening to make sense. But I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last. It doesn't make sense to me that we would get a one-on-one match. Granted, it's it'd be for the AEW title instead of the Impact Championship. It doesn't make sense that we would get a match on free TV. Well, not free, but you know what I mean. It's
right.
It's cable television versus a pay-per-view event that they want to get you to pay that $50 to see what will be what I assume would be their main event match of the night. So I'll equate it to this. That's like me. I'll equate it to this article that I wrote. That would be like me telling you guys what I wrote in this article, but then posting it on our Patreon page and asking you guys to go check it out, pay the monthly commitment or whatever. It doesn't make sense to me.
So this conversation opens up a lot of questions in general. One, we also saw Kenny now defend the belt against Andrade.
That's why we can segue into that.
At Triple Mania, because it still feeds into the Christian Cage type conversation, too. You knew that Kenny was defending the AAA championship against Andrade, both of which are all elite people at this point in time now.
This match was even... I think this match was even on the books prior to Andrade even officially joining AEW.
Right. So now he's one of your talents as well. Some of the promos and stuff they aired on Triple Mania were shot and produced at AEW. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going into this. You knew that match was coming up. We talked about how the basically beforehand, before anything was finalized, Andrade was actually supposed to go over in this match and win the belt. So you knew that was the plan for AAA, was we want to get the belt on Andrade. Now, you go and book this Impact title match 3 days before Triple Mania.
No, this was the night before. This was Friday night. Triple Mania was Saturday.
Okay, so even more of an argument.
Like literally, Kenny did the match, and I think that also played a part into why the match was first, because I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he had a flight that he had to be on either right as Rampage was ending or shortly after, something like that. So it wouldn't have made sense for him to have to go on last.
So you have Kenny drop the Impact belt, which now opens the door to the belt collector gimmick is starting to fade because he's dropped one now. He technically only has 2 belts now.
Yep.
So he's not a belt collector anymore. He is now 2 belts Kenny. Kenny 2 belts. So that door's already been opened. Now we talked about how AEW has control of all of Kenny's finishes, basically. So they pretty much told Triple Mania, absolutely not at this time. Mainly because you can't have Kenny lose 2 nights in a row.
Well, okay, here's what I wanted to bring up. Here's what's so funny about this whole Kenny dropping the AAA Mega Championship, dropping it, not dropping it, etc. So the original plan was Andrade was going to win the belt. They had it planned. AAA, AEW had it arranged to where he was going to drop the belt. Well, then they come back and say, well, we don't want Kenny to lose 2 nights in a row. AEW, Tony Khan, whoever's saying that. So they go to AAA, basically work it out to where Kenny would keep the belt. But then, and we can also segue into this if we want, once Kenny found out that Ric Flair was coming and he was going to be involved in the segment and this and that, yada, 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 Kenny actually went to Tony Khan and AEW and said, well, because Flair is going to be involved, he was either willing or saying, I actually want to drop the belt now to Andrade. And he got Tony Khan and AEW on board with it. But by that point, AAA was just like, no, let's just keep it let's keep the plan, and we'll just keep the belt on Kenny. So it's like
too many, and this is
there's too many hands in the cookie jar.
Not just that, the forbidden door being open creates a lot of these issues.
Well, it's good that they can get along, but yeah, I agree. It's just like
one, it's AAA's belt on an AEW, more basically an AEW superstar. I know he has freedom to go other places, but it's on somebody else. You're wanting to move the belt to somebody who also is an AEW superstar who's free to do other things. You have Ric Flair, who we thought maybe he wasn't even allowed to necessarily do anything right away, just show up out of thin air. It really put a twist on the whole storyline because the Conan being with Andrade, they showed a little promo that night that just had him, for no reason, switch to Kenny's side, like drop of a dime because Ric Flair was there. And so just like silly stuff like that. But it opens this conversation now of, okay, well, we just saw Christian Cage win the Impact World title. We're being told we're getting Christian Cage versus Kenny at All Out. If Christian Cage loses at All Out, you would technically say that Kenny and Christian are 1-1, which would mean that there would technically need to be a who is the better of the two, which then makes me think, do you do like a title for title match and, see who wins out of that, and then we're back to having two belts on the same guy again?
Well, real quick, just a quick spoiler alert. They actually, at the Impact tapings, I know someone was asking about this, Christian was at the most recent Impact tapings. He actually defended it successfully, spoiler, against Brian Myers.
Right.
He actually retired the TNA belt. So
good, because that needs to be done with anyways.
Well, I just selfishly, not to get off topic, I really wish they would have created a different belt and kind of combined the designs of the two.
Right.
Because they actually retired, of the two belts, in my opinion, they retired the better of the two belts that, better looking anyway. I get that, it's not TNA anymore. You want it to be Impact branded. Make a new belt.
It was cool that an original TNA guy could come in and retire it, basically. And who knows, maybe a new design is on the way with Christian being the champion. Be. So, but it opens that door now of, do they have a third match if we in fact get them at All Out? Which is why I would almost agree and be inclined to agree with you that maybe we're not getting that. Maybe Christian getting the Impact title was a way to kind of start the long process of getting Kenny dwindled down on these belts now.
Yeah. So, and I agree with Thomas's comment. If he is going to lose a belt first, I think it should have been the AAA championship.
At least, here's the thing. They could have stretched this Christian storyline out longer to where at All Out, it wasn't for the AEW belt. It was for the Impact title at All Out. And the reason why I say that is that you could have Kenny jumping hoops, doing what they've been doing. Oh, no. You've not earned an AEW title shot. If you're going to challenge for anything, you're going to challenge for the Impact title. And make him jump through hoops to get to, because it's on AEW programming. The AEW title is still the most prestigious belt to get. So that would have been a way to kind of go for that, which meant that we could have got Andrade the belt at the time he was supposed to. A month would have went by. You could have played into that too. Oh, well, he dropped the AAA. Your little, your confidence is shook. All these different things. So I just found it interesting that we're talking about Kenny dropping the belt to Christian, knowing that the very next night the plans were this. It just seemed like some awkward timing on AEW's part, knowing that this was the finish that AAA was wanting. It still benefits you because one of your guys is still going to have the AAA championship. So it's not like it hurts you. It's not like it's getting it off TV. I thought the match with Andrade and Kenny was really good.
I thought it was very good. If you've not watched it, I mean, I get that a lot of people, just, and this is not, racist by any means. Just some people just don't prefer to watch wrestling from, put on by foreign companies because they can't understand the commentary, which, I get it. But if they're putting on a decent enough match, you can watch, in my opinion anyway, you can watch any pro wrestling match put on by anyone at any time, regardless of if it's English commentary, Spanish commentary, Japanese commentary, whatever.
I didn't get to watch the whole card. I will say that some of the I got on right as Phoenix and Penta won their match. I saw the celebration. And so some of the matches leading up to the Kenny Andrade match, I'm not going to lie, they were kind of boring. They're not very good. So if you're like, hey, I don't really want to watch something new, cool. Just go straight to the Kenny Andrade match. It was really good. Again, spoiler alert, Ric Flair showed up. That was cool. He had some cool stuff going on in that match. Conan was out there, which was, whatever. But it was cool to see. It was a good match. I just wanted to bring up that I thought it was kind of awkward timing, knowing that now that we know the knowledge that we know, you knew that this is what they wanted to do. Why did we book Christian and Kenny for the Impact stuff when they did? Now, again, there's a whole other company involved with Impact too. Impact's like, hey, we got to do something different here because this Kenny thing's burning out all of our top guys, and we don't have a way to keep top guys basically because he keeps beating all of our top guys.
Yeah.
So you had to bring in someone fresh. I think that's the right call, but now AAA unfortunately gets the kind of the crappy hand of the stick because now they still have Kenny holding their belt and don't have a way to get it off of him, in my opinion, anytime soon.
Well, I read that for whatever reason, they don't even have an Andrade Omega rematch planned, which is, I mean, in my opinion, look, I'm not with AAA. I don't know what they have in mind as far as their future plans with Andrade since he's, officially with AEW now. If they eventually want their AAA Mega Champion to be somebody that's with AAA, I don't know. That could play a part in it. I just I don't know. I think there's just a lot of other backstage intangibles and, things that we don't know that maybe AAA was just more inclined to say, no, let's not do the title change tonight, even though Flair's here. Like, I get that, Kenny, I appreciate you wanting to drop it, but, let's just keep the status quo for now. And I wonder if part of that is because eventually whenever they have Kenny drop the belt, it's going to be to somebody that's with AAA exclusively or for the, there for the most part. Because let's face it, Andrade is not going to be with AAA full time. Or not even part of the time. I mean, last I read going into this match, this is just supposed to be a one-off for Andrade. I don't know if that ever changed at any point, but nonetheless, let's segue into, well, let's talk about another company that's involved in this whole Forbidden Door stuff. So Lance Archer dropped the IWGP United States Championship to Hiroshi Tanahashi at this I think it was Resurgence. I'm getting Resurgence and Emergence.
I think it was actually the other one. What was the one this past Saturday? That was Resurgence.
Resurgence, right? Yeah, okay. Because Impact has Emergence. I'm wanting to make sure I didn't get them confused.
Right.
So the rumor is now that Hiroshi Tanahashi is actually going to be appearing with AEW and is going to have a match with Moxley at All Out. I don't know how. I'm kind of on the fence about this just because Tanahashi is like New Japan's version of Cena. I get that the mentality of maybe AEW wanting to get more buys for their pay-per-view from, the Japanese audience and things like that, but I don't know how I feel about it at this point because they're very different styles as far as just as far as in-ring work. And they've not had a match before, I don't believe. And that's the reason Moxley wanted this match, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm actually more disturbed by the fact that they just put it on Archer and made him a transitional champion.
Exactly.
Than I am the actual match between Moxley and Tanahashi. If you wanted Moxley versus Tanahashi, it would have made way more sense for Tanahashi to come in and beat Moxley at All Out for the belt.
I 100% agree.
And end his run than it does to have Lance Archer beat Moxley in what was a good match. I don't want to take that away from him.
It was a very good match. I think it was
probably one of Archer's best matches in AEW.
I would go as far to say it was his best in AEW. I would say even top 3 of Moxley's.
Like, it bothers me that a guy that is that I know we were dissing on Lance Archer when he first came in, and I honestly think now looking back at it, it was more bad booking and not really knowing what to do with him.
That was part of it.
Than what it was. He wasn't comfortable there because he didn't really know what his place was there. And so now that I feel like he's kind of found his zone, especially having Jake the Snake as kind of his manager to kind of help with some of the promo type stuff, I don't understand why you have him beat Jon Moxley's lengthy reign as champion to then turn around and he didn't even hold it a month, I don't think, right? Like maybe close to a month before he drops it to Tanahashi. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? What, you really just hurt Archer. The only thing it doesn't benefit Tanahashi for him to win the belt, let's be honest. It doesn't benefit Jon Moxley to have the belt still or to lose it.
He held it for 24 days.
Like, only thing it did was hurt Lance Archer. You could have took the middleman out of it. Lance Archer didn't even need to be involved in this and could have had Jon Moxley. And I think this actually would have been a better build-up for All Out, too. If you're wanting to really sell tickets, Tanahashi without the belt, chasing the belt versus Jon Moxley, who's got this long title run, long reign. You know, one of AEW's biggest names versus one of New Japan's biggest names going head-to-head for the belt.
And I agree. I think that would have driven, if AEW's wanting those Japanese buys, you're going to want your New Japan guy trying to go after the belt as opposed to already holding it and wanting to see him retain. That's just my opinion, because if I'm wanting to see a match, I'd rather see a match with one of my favorites trying to win the championship as opposed to just already having it and defending it.
Well, and so just reading some of the comments, I don't care. A really great promo of showing respect. That's the right thing to do to build that person up. It still doesn't change the fact that he got hurt. His credibility gets hurt in this whole process. So that's really what bothers me. As far as Tanahashi and Jon Moxley, is it going to be a good match? Probably. Does Jon Moxley do a better storyline of chasing a title versus being the title holder? Absolutely. Do I think Jon Moxley is going to win the belt at that event? Probably not.
It might not even be on the line. It could just be a grudge match.
Right. But I'm just of the mindset of you finally got it back on a New Japan guy that is solely New Japan for the most part. I mean, I get Forbidden Doors open, so we're saying the company that they're with, knowing that they could technically go do one-offs or whatever somewhere else, but you got it back on a guy who can keep it where it needs to be. I just don't think it makes sense to now put it back on Moxley if that was the mindset. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually more uninterested in it now with the way that they did it, that I don't really care. I would actually rather see it without the belt being on the line than I think I'd like to see it with having to feel like the title has to be on the line. It's cool. Again, we haven't seen too much New Japan involvement in this Forbidden Door conversation. We got another tease of that on Resurgence.
Yep. We can go into that too if we want.
With
Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay.
Yep.
Showing up, bringing back his belt that he technically never lost, and basically threatening. I don't know, whatever better word there is.
So if you guys have not watched Resurgence, Will Ospreay came back with another IWGP championship belt, which for what it's worth, he and brain lapse. What's his name?
Rusty says he was at Resurgence.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. Dope.
Hang on.
Mark says Archer should go for the TNT belt. Him and Miro would be a good match. Didn't they do that?
They did do that.
They already did that. Not that he couldn't do it again. I'm just saying that already happened. That was like one of Miro's first title defenses.
Yeah. Shingo Takagi. But each of them have a belt now. So it's kind of the old school, not old school, I guess, but the CM Punk John Cena thing. Kind of rehashing that deal. But Ospreay basically said that, I'm refusing to defend this championship unless New Japan acknowledges that I am the champion, not just an interim champion or whatever term he used. But he did say that, the Forbidden Door is open. He's like, I'll go to wherever and actually defend this belt outside of Japan. So, and look, I've made no secret that I'm a fan of Will Ospreay. I'd probably, as far as current talent, I'd probably put him in my top 3 favorite wrestlers as far as current across all brands, across all companies. part of me hopes that he actually does not appear for any other company. As much as I would like to selfishly see him in, make an appearance in AEW just for shock value, or, I mean, I don't really care to see him in Impact. I don't really care to see him in Ring of Honor or NWA, wherever. I think that's all it would be. I think it'd be a shock value appearance, but then what would you do with him from there? Like, from a long-term booking standpoint, I mean, don't get me wrong. He could go have a great match with, a lot of guys on the AEW roster. I mean, we've touched on some of those guys. I mean, Dante Martin put on a show this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Shout out to him, by the way. But guys like Penta, Phoenix, there's a ton of dream matches that he could have, but he's not with AEW. He is with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So from a long-term booking standpoint, selfishly, I think it'd be cool if he made a one-off appearance for shock value. He could go and have a good match, but then it's not like he could stay there he couldn't stay there full time.
I'd almost rather see it be the reverse, where people are coming to New Japan to fight him,
which I would be more okay with.
Than I am thinking. The Forbidden Door really, and I've been saying this, it really only benefits AEW in the long run, because the Forbidden,
as of now,
the Forbidden Door is really running through Impact a little bit, but they're definitely not getting the buzz like AEW is. Everybody that's going through the Forbidden Door is having their match on AEW's programming. Yes, they have the biggest television deal. Yes, they have the biggest platform. So that makes sense. But how is that benefiting your company really? And so the more I look at it, it's like, okay, well, NWA is defending their belts on AEW programming. Impact is defending their belts on AEW programming. New Japan defending their belts on AEW programming. Where is the AEW belts getting defended on something else?
Hasn't happened.
Where is the Impact belts getting defended somewhere else? That it's just not happening. The Forbidden Door is really, we've opened one door that everyone's allowed to go through, but the Forbidden Doors really should be several doors opening for several companies to walk through and do business with each other. Why isn't Impact and New Japan working more together? I know we've had Finn Juice and some of those guys come in, but we haven't seen a whole lot. Why isn't Impact people showing up in New Japan? Or why isn't, and not like some mid-level guy, I'm talking, why isn't Sami Callihan showing up somewhere? Or why isn't this person?
Which was a huge disappointment in my opinion. I thought for sure Sami Callihan was going to be Moxley's mystery tag partner.
Which I was going to bring up. Looking at Resurgence just as a whole, I thought it was actually an underwhelming card.
I'll be honest, I did not watch any of it.
It didn't have much to it. Just being completely honest, I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it. But with what I did watch, the most intriguing thing for me was actually Will Ospreay coming out. I saw David Finlay versus
Jay White.
No, it was Hikilu.
The guy that Lance Archer successfully, the guy that Lance Archer successfully defended his one successful United States title defense.
That's like Haku's son or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I saw that. That match was okay. But there just wasn't for me. And I watched the Moxley match, and I'm not going to say it had to be Sami Callihan for me.
Well, hold on. So you said David Finlay? Yeah, he faced Jay White.
No, I'm talking about
Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I knew it was one of the Finn Juice connection guys. And I didn't watch the Jay White, so maybe that one was better, and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about on that match, but I stayed around for the Moxley match because I was intrigued to see who the mystery tag partner was. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it had to be Sami Callihan for me to be happy. I just expected it to be
not Yuji Nagata.
And Yuji Nagata's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it was bad. They put him and Moxley put on probably one of the better matches I've seen Moxley do on AEW. But I still go back to, I was expecting something huge.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'll tell you what. We got 9:52. We need to roll on with the show. We might have to scrap a segment. Who do you got for Wrestler of the Week?
I think there's no way possible that you can't pick Christian Cage. Winning the Impact title, it was a great match. You know, the debut of Rampage as well. Nostalgic, just dope that he has a belt again. I didn't think I'd ever get to say that again, so definitely going Christian Cage.
So knowing that you were going to pick Christian Cage, because I mean, I probably would have went that route as well, but I need to be a little different. Need to be a little different. So, again, he would have been my winner. He'd have been, whatever. So I'm going to leave him out of my choice as well as my runner-up. My runner-up is actually Shinsuke Nakamura, winning the Intercontinental Championship this past week.
Almost quietly.
Very quietly.
Not a lot of buzz on that.
I only caught highlights of the match, so I don't know if the match itself was any good or not, but he's my runner-up just because him being in any title picture is long overdue at this point.
Not to mention it's just better for TV.
Better for TV. You got it off what's-his-face. I mean,
Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews. Again, if I can't think of the dude's name, what does that say?
Right.
I literally...
I actually know his bodyguard better than I know him.
Yeah. However, my wrestler of the week goes to Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay.
She is now a belt collector. So she won the AAA Women's Championship at the Triple Mania pay-per-view. So she is now the AAA Women's Champion and the Impact Women's Champion as well. And they've kind of teased, which, I mean, granted they've done this for a while off and on, but they've teased a Deonna Purrazzo, Britt Baker thing somewhere down the line, maybe, possibly, but to be determined. But
I'm actually kind of pumped for the match just because you mentioned her. The Melina match actually has me kind of excited. This NWA Empower women's pay-per-view thing they're going on. I don't know. I think it might actually be a decent match.
I mean, the whole NWA, that whole weekend, and that's going to be here in the St. Louis area, Wrestling at the Chase. They have a 4-day event. They're going to have a all-women's pay-per-view on Saturday called Empower. They've got the 73rd anniversary show on Sunday, and then they're doing power tapings Monday and Tuesday, I believe. I thought the tickets were a little overpriced. I'll be honest, I didn't really have any interest in going to the all-women's pay-per-view, and the Wrestling at the Chase 73rd anniversary show, I just thought the tickets were overpriced, so I told Cole whenever they first went on sale, I'm just like, nah. If they're this much, like, I mean, they were almost like AEW and WWE prices, and I'm just like, no thanks. So, let's see. Moving right along.
What a miscarriage of justice!
So, this is the segment where we talk about maybe maybe travesty is a strong word. I think that's how I worded it in our show description whenever I posted it on our social media platforms. But some of the miscarriages of justice in the world of wrestling, past or present. I'll let you go first with one of them. What do you got?
So, I think for me, because we haven't really dove too much into this, we've obviously addressed big parts of this, but just the amount and the names of releases in general that have been released from WWE over the past, really, let's just say the past couple months.
Yeah.
The names, the people on that list, like I've talked about, I haven't gotten to talk to you about the second promo video I saw come out, but I mentioned Buddy Murphy just had a promo video dropped in one of our chats that we're in. And I thought it was a really good promo, and they did a lot of teasing of basically he's been held hostage for like 7 years and,
Right.
Been in prison, and now it's time to let him out and all this stuff. I just saw that they released, I haven't got to see it yet, but a Ruby Soho promo just dropped, and it looks, from what I got to see preview-wise of it, it looks dope. And so I'm starting to think, okay, and then I know my buddy over here is not a huge Jim Cornette fan, but sometimes...
No, well, look, I've said before, like, I 100% respect the impact, no pun intended, and influence he's had on pro wrestling, since the beginning. I mean, what it really comes down to is just I disagree with some of his opinions and some of his takes on different things. There have been times where maybe I was a little more, I'll say, overly passionate about my disagreements with him, and that's on me. I mean, I won't go into specifics. You guys can check out some of our shows in our archives, but there was one in particular where he was ripping on Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins for having a family and this and that. And it's just like, okay, whatever. That's your opinion. I was strongly against it. I still am, but I probably came off kind of harsh whenever I went on my little rant on whatever show that was. I think that was a show I actually did solo. I don't know if you were here for that one, but yeah, I mean, it just comes down to I disagree with his take on a lot of things. I will say this, not to get off topic. I agree with a ton of his opinions and takes on just food in general, because they taught him and Brian, his co-host or whatever, they talk about food a lot, and just like Cornette's dead on a lot of his takes as far as food goes. Anyway, I digress, but continue.
You hear that, Jim Cornette? The forbidden door's open. You can now come to.
Well, he's got to unblock us on Twitter first, which to this day I still have no idea how or why that happened.
We are now open. Going Broadway podcast, the forbidden door is open. I'm just kidding. No,
seriously, if he wants to come on at any point, he is more than welcome.
We'll talk about. We'll keep it food based.
No, we can talk about whatever. I'd love to have him. He would just have to. He'd have to nix half.
It's a PG show.
He'd have to nix half of his vocabulary. Anyway, and I say that respectfully as well. That's not a dig at him.
I bring him up though because he had I watched some of his YouTube clips from their podcast, and he was talking about Bray Wyatt, and they went down the whole Bray Wyatt thing, and he brings up good points. He said, they wouldn't have released the guy. Everyone's complaining about his merch numbers and things like that, saying, well, his merch had to be through the roof. He's like, hey, listen, they're looking at all that. There's no way that they didn't look at those numbers and say, you know what, this guy's making a ton of money, release him. They're looking at either he wasn't producing the way he used to, they didn't have anything for him, and he brought up a good point. When you burn a guy alive, bring him back to life, and then still have him lose, you pretty much you put a stick in him and say he's done.
Yeah.
So that all made sense. But they started to talk about his creatability and some of the things that he brings to the table and all this stuff. And I'm just starting to think about all these names that have been released. Matt Cardona shaking up the wrestling world, going to GCW and putting on a death match that we never thought. We got woo-woo with Matt Cardona. We didn't even get this side of Matt Cardona that we're seeing now. Chelsea Green shaking up the wrestling world, being able to go to ROH and Impact.
Wherever she wants, literally.
Literally being a commodity. And we kind of talked about this. It's like I didn't know how desired she was going to be, but people want her. People are connecting with what she's doing and kind of changing some things up. Mickie James leaving, her being the kind of the veteran on the roster that they let go. I'm sorry, but NWA got a hold of her, and they got her in a role that's really benefiting NWA right now.
And she's doing a good job. Like I've kept an eye on some of the PR stuff they've been doing, and they've had a couple of different press conferences. Like, she carries herself really well. It's not like she's this, maybe not so much recently, but prior they kind of had her this almost half ditzy character almost. She's not that at all. She's super intelligent.
And that's my point, is that there's a lot of these guys, even if we're looking at someone like Mark Henry, Big Show, if we're looking at Christian Cage, Bryan Danielson, there's a lot of these guys that even though you may not have had something for them creatively in the wrestling side of things, you should have tried to find a way to make them feel valued and connected from another aspect. Losing Mark Henry to me was absolutely insane. I brought that up in another Miscarriage of Justice. Big Show, obviously, he brings a lot to the table. Just name value alone brings a lot to the table. But Bryan Danielson, to me, is just insane too. He was on your creative team. He was still wrestling. He was willing to put other guys over. I don't know how much more he could have done for you guys, and you couldn't do any of the things he was asking for. You couldn't have found a way to make that work. So I just think, even looking at, I was actually extremely disappointed on Rampage because I thought the Iconics were going to come out during the end of the Britt Baker match.
See, that surprised me. I wasn't sure how they were going to end the show. If anything, I thought it could have just been like a hometown, Britt Baker
cheer,
play to the crowd kind of thing. Not not overdoing it like Hogan back in the day, but just playing to the crowd, Excalibur signing off, saying, telling everybody join us next week, whatever. I almost would have, not to get off topic, I almost would have preferred that actually, because no offense, but did anybody else remember Jamie Hayter from her other AEW appearances? I didn't.
I don't know who she is still.
I know the name, but I didn't remember her appearing in AEW.
I had, when she came out, I'm like, I still don't know who this is. It's an underwhelming. The show ended in an underwhelming fashion, in my opinion.
I thought so too. I thought the show was good, but the ending kind of brought it down for me.
So yeah, but the Iconics being out there and available, they bring a lot to the table. Like, there's so many names that we could go back through again and just be like, I still can't wrap my head up. Braun Strowman, like, I just can't wrap my head around how we let all these people go. So luckily, they saved Samoa Joe, and got him back in on NXT, because I'm just like literally mind blown. Bobby Fish being out there, like, so many names that bring and add value in so many ways. I was just still blows my mind, honestly.
I agree. I'll probably have some people disagree with me on this. I know this is not unpopular opinions, but I think it's a miscarriage of justice that it took Christian so long. Now, this is going back to whenever he had his WWE return. I think it's a miscarriage of justice that it took so long to, regardless of when he was with WWE or now with AEW, to put a belt on him. And I'll actually second that, and this kind of ties into what you were saying. I think it's a miscarriage of justice that WWE didn't hold on to him in the first place. I mean, because there's another guy that, obviously he can still wrestle. I mean, I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised by that match with Kenny. I'm not saying it was a 5-star match, but I'd probably given it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. So he could still go in the ring for you. And
name value. Just name value alone.
Name value, and having a guy like that backstage to, let's say he stayed with WWE, because he's going to, he's been doing this with AEW. He's a guy you want to have backstage for mentoring your NXT guys. And
not to mention fans like nostalgia. And we've talked about this several times. The tag division is absolutely atrocious.
Oh, it's awful.
Think of the fact is we can't have Edge and Christian winning every belt and holding them for long periods of time and all that stuff. But think about like an Edge and Christian reunion. They hold the titles one more time.
Oh, I would have loved it.
Like a New Day, Edge and Christian's, feud. Usos versus Edge and Christian feud. There's plenty of other tag teams.
Well, hold on. Who did you name before the Usos?
The New Day.
Okay. You could have Edge and Christian against Miz and Morrison.
Like, as I'm saying, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the Mysterios would have been fun.
Yeah.
Just because Ray has worked with them enough.
That's true. I
think that they could create something. So I'll say this, even American Alpha, or whatever you want to call that, the Alpha Academy, whatever you want to call it, I think there's some fun to be had in the tag division. And I'm like, you have Edge and Christian, who kind of like when the Dudleys came back, kind of when the Hardys came back, let them have the title one more time, cool. But just let them kind of run the tag division. War Raiders, let them kind of have fun with some of these tag teams. Elevate those tag teams, get them in the limelight a little bit, because you might be able to actually create something. And I thought that was just a miss too. It's like, not only could you had him get one more world title run or mid-card title run somewhere, fit into the mold there, but y'all could have eventually, there was many roads to travel with Edge and Christian.
And you could have done something else with Seth Rollins during SummerSlam season. Like, you didn't have to pair him and Edge together. I mean, when did Christian appear at all for WWE outside of the Rumble?
So he was there for like the Legends Night.
But I'm saying in ring. Did he?
In ring, he was involved in the Orton match, but he still wasn't cleared. So, he's done the Orton feud. He did the unsanctioned match.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. I thought there was another one in there.
He wasn't cleared, so it was kind of
unsanctioned.
Right.
Gosh, that would have been fun. I would have enjoyed the heck out of that. I think that would have been amazing. I mean, you could have.
It's a missed opportunity.
You could have done. I know Edge was in the Universal title picture for a while. You could have paired Roman with somebody else,
or go ahead and do that. That's fine. Have Edge win the Rumble. That's only 2 to 3 months of a season right there. You can have Christian still be friends with Edge and have him and Seth Rollins go at each other. Or have him, like, get a dream match out of the way. Just have a feud of, Christian saying, I'm back. I'm happy to be back. And
there's multiple ways.
One of your Baron Corbin comes out, or whoever the heel you want it to be that's going to feud with him, and just be like, no, you don't have it anymore. And allow that to be your WrestleMania match for Christian, and then revisit while Edge had nothing else to do because he got screwed out of a title opportunity at
tons of different ways you could have booked it. By the way, shout out again to Baron Corbin. This homeless gimmick is gold.
Yeah.
I mean, this is hilarious.
Hopefully it has a payoff.
At this point, I'm just enjoying.
I hope it's not just for nothing is my point.
I mean, yeah, I don't know where you go with it, but here's what I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but I remember saying I know we were in the studio, so it's been a minute. But on one of our shows, I mentioned that they trademarked Happy Corbin. I don't know if they're even going to use that, but just keep that in mind as his character progresses. Who knows? I don't know. We got time. Why don't you give us one more if you have one more?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had one in my head, and now I'm trying to.
Well, I'll give you another quick one, and Thomas mentioned it. I hate that they gave Nia Jax the stink face. I hate it. That's a huge miscarriage of justice. I think that should be Rikishi's and Rikishi's only.
Okay. Since we're gonna be on the women's division, let's talk about this miscarriage of justice real quick. Shayna Baszler. Just in general, like how do you take what is probably
is she the miscarriage of justice, or is the creative backing her?
Whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I just don't understand how you can take who is probably. Now, this is before we've brought in Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. How you can take them, probably the most successful woman out of NXT since the Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, Becky era. I'll throw Alexa Bliss in there as well. And how you can take the most successful woman to be in that part promotion and bring her in and miserably fail to use her as anything but almost like a joke at this point.
Well, they did the same thing with Asuka, so I'm not surprised.
Asuka's been at least used on and off in the title picture, has had successful title runs.
I mean, yeah, but
you had her fail against Becky, which I understand. You had her have a tag title run, which is probably the most underwhelming belt in all of WWE. So it's like, okay, at what? And your women. What's crazy to me? Your women's division sucks. Like you have again. I feel like I'm seeing the same match on SmackDown and Raw every single week. It's Nikki Ash versus Charlotte or Rhea every single week right now, and they're gonna have a triple threat match. And now I have no idea who can challenge after that because it's gonna be Rhea or Charlotte on their own. It feels like because there's nobody else even close to being ready, unless you're gonna say Alexa Bliss or Eva Marie, which I can't even believe is on a SummerSlam card. But
I've got another miscarriage of justice. Continue. Continue.
But that blows my mind. And then I look at SmackDown, and I'm like, SmackDown literally has the same four women. It has Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Carmella, and Zelina Vega. Like, that is the fourth main woman on your roster, and you have Shayna Baszler acting like a circus clown in your I just can't believe. Like, Nia, I understand everyone's dislike for her because of her inexperience and really carelessness in the ring. Again, I don't think that she's fully to blame for that. You would think that someone would teach her stuff at some point, but you have these dominant women on your roster. The fact that Tamina has not been women's champion yet blows my freaking mind. Like, I just can't understand how you have these dominant forces. Vince, what's crazy to me, Vince likes the big, tough, strong man, but then likes the dinky girl, it feels like. And I hate this, make some of the other women in this division sound like they're not as big or strong or anything, but why are they getting the pushes when Shayna is literally and was booked as this dominant, undefeatable thing in NXT, and you bring her in now, and it's like she never wrestled a match in a day in her life. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a miscarriage of justice all the way with with Shayna.
Okay. And this one will be quick as well, but if you look at the SummerSlam card, which we'll get to the predictions here shortly. If you look up and down the card, you'll notice some names that are missing. We don't have Shinsuke Nakamura on the card, who is your Intercontinental Champion.
Granted, SmackDown hasn't happened yet.
However, there are already 10 matches on this card.
Right. It could be a pre-show.
Kevin Owens is not on the card. Big E is not on the card.
Who's your Money in the Bank champion or holder, whatever you want to call it?
No, I know. I'm showing that up.
I know.
Throwing this out there.
It's crazy that he's not on the card.
Hold on. New Day is not on the card. You can probably throw out a bunch of other names that are on this card, but for some reason, Eva Marie has a match on SummerSlam. Why?
Now, is it the pre-show? Did they actually announce it as the pre-show match?
I don't know.
Because the only way I could really understand it is if it was the pre-show match. Again, we could name 1,000 better matches, but if they're trying to get the storyline to have any kind of grounds to it, I could understand the pre-show. If this thing is main card and the Usos versus the Mysterios is the pre-show match, like I think I saw.
Oh, that's right. Baron Corbin has the briefcase now. He stole it.
It's not his, though.
I know. I'm just throwing that out there.
And we might see teases of that just because they're not. Big E's not on the card.
Yeah.
And I also saw Miz and Morrison said that they were going to do something at SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah. Miz and Morrison are on the card.
New Day was behind them with their buy our shirt thing in that segment.
They're supposed to start a feud after SummerSlam was the rumor I read.
So there could be the start of
yeah
something similar there. So
anyway, yeah, that gets me a little heated. Is we have Eva and Doudrop on the card, but KO nowhere to be
I hate
found.
that name.
Big
I
E.
absolutely hate that name. Doudrop.
Big E, KO, New Day, Miz and Morrison,
Cesaro.
Ricochet. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yep. Nope. You
Anyway,
nailed that one on the head.
all right.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Guys, you can check us out across all of our social media platforms. Normally, our social media platforms would be scrolling across the bottom of your screen. You know what? I guess I can have them scroll. You just won't see me for a couple minutes. Let's just start off by letting you guys know that we are so close to doing that 3 free belt giveaway. We're like 50 likes away from 5,000. So check out facebook.com/Going Broadway Podcast. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. Give us a like. Share it with your friends and family. Help us to get to 5,000. Twitter.com/GoingBRDWIPod. Instagram.com/GoingBRDWIPod. YouTube.com/GoingBroadwayPodcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe. There is our Patreon link as well that I mentioned earlier, patreon.com/GoingBroadwayPodcast. We've got 4 different tiers that you can choose from if you want to become a monthly financial contributor. We would sincerely and humbly appreciate it. Like I mentioned, I'm going to try to post an article here and there just to for those of you wrestling fans that like to read. They won't be super long. It might take you a couple minutes to read, so it's not like it's not going to be a huge lengthy piece by any means, but I'll try to get some content out there. But we do also have some perks and benefits that come along with these tiers that include but may not be limited to discounted merch purchases, free merch, as well as additional giveaway entries into our belt giveaways. Like I said, guys, we are about 50 likes away from that 5,000. So once we hit that 5,000, the next podcast that we have after we hit that 5,000, we will be doing that 3 free belt giveaway. All entries will be pulled from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So we'll have one lucky winner that will be winning 3 belts. So keep that in mind. And I do want to throw up our shirts. These are our WCW early 90s tribute Going Broadway podcast shirts. They do come in black, white, and gray with the purple and gold design, as well as our Going Broadway podcast colors, green, black, gray, and white. Those only come in black and gray because it would look goofy on a white shirt with the white accents on the text. So if you're interested, they are $25 shipped plus applicable taxes for a t-shirt, $50 shipped plus applicable taxes for a hoodie. the goal is we will have our goingbroadwaypodcast.com website up and running by next week. Hopefully by this weekend, which I want to mention something about this weekend shortly. But you can check out goingbroadwaypodcast.com. I think the website's actually live right now, but it's not formatted. It's really just a stock website at this point. But we're going to update that with our graphics, our colors. We're going to update that with all of our shows. We're going to update our links to all of our social media platforms. There will be links that'll take you straight to Apple and Google Podcasts, straight to Spotify, so you can check us out there. Again, all of our all of our shows should be on there. I would say by tomorrow morning as well, all of our shows, beginning with today's, will be up on Apple and Google and Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us across all of your favorite podcasting platforms. As far as this weekend goes, we haven't promoted this much, but we are having a watch party this Sunday night. We're going to be watching NXT TakeOver 36. Cole and I for sure will be here in the studio. We might have our buddy Austin here. We're not sure yet, to be determined as far as that goes. But nonetheless, Cole and I will be here. Hopefully we'll have all of our cameras and technology working as flawlessly as possible. So, Cole, I just saw you messing with those tights over there. If any of you just joined us, Cole, why don't you show those again to the people? So we had a generous donation from someone who I can't mention, but this generous person gifted myself with an NXT Women's Tag Team belt and gifted Cole with these ring-used Ricochet tights. So you're going to have to, like I said, you're going to have to.
It just hit me. I was like, hey, I'm going to actually try to see if I can find a picture of them.
I tried. I hate to burst your bubble, but I tried. Not to say that you can't find them, but I mean,
I'm going to find them.
I mean, I Googled everything you could think to Google. I mean, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, Ring of Honor, ROH, WWE, NXT.
I'm going to try it later on. There's a thing that you can like take a picture of it for Google, and I'm going to see if Google can find it.
I didn't think of doing that.
I'm going to see.
I forgot that.
See if it'll happen.
I forgot that was a thing. So, let's see what's next on the agenda. Let's do our SummerSlam predictions. And as we go through these guys, give us your predictions on the stream as well, or on the chat thread, I mean. And let's just tackle these one by one. I mean, these aren't going to be in any particular order. It's 20 after 10. We got some time. We don't have to rush through these. Okay, WWE Raw tag title match. There we go. AJ Styles almost defending against RK Bro. That'd been a fun match. Edge and Christian against RK Bro.
Yeah, lot of ties there. A lot of ties there.
Do you think they pull the trigger on the title change? I'll give you my prediction. This might be a bolder prediction. I think they do.
I'm actually going RK Bro.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't see how AJ Styles can't be used here soon in the title picture.
No, I agree.
In the main title picture, like it's starting to get to the point that they're running out of people. Whether it's going to be U.S. or I think it should be main title, but especially because the draft is probably around the corner the next month or two.
Last I read, it's still going to be. They're still planning October.
So it'd be smart to go and get the belts off him now and just let him run a feud with somebody for a couple months and then.
Oh, Eva Marie against Alexa Bliss.
Who cares? Like,
I agree. We can go past that. I don't really care.
I'm just gonna say Alexa Bliss for the standpoint of I
am too. If Eva Marie wins this match,
unless it's literally cheating, like Doudrop like sits on her for 45 minutes. I like.
Oh my god!
I don't know. Like,
wow, you went there.
I'm just Alexa Bliss is 80 pounds. Let's just be real.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, y'all.
That's a hot take right there.
I'm just Alexa Bliss. I don't know what else to say.
Drew McIntyre against Jinder Mahal. I'm actually inclined to say Jinder.
I'm struggling on this one because there's no belt. So it's not like I have to be like, oh, well, they're not going to take the belt off Drew for this. It definitely is deeper. It feels like they've been giving Drew the edge every single week.
No pun intended.
The edge of the sword or Edge the wrestler? Who will know?
Either one.
It just feels like every single week they're giving him the that push,
The edge.
the edge factor.
I'm sticking with Jinder on this one.
For the sake of being different, I'll go Drew.
Okay.